I will call the meeting to order and announce out loud that this meeting is being recorded by Dartmouth Community Media.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
Says who? All right, that was interesting. All right, so we've got, the first item is to review and approve the minutes for the meeting of April 1st, 2024. Any discussion or anything? Everybody get a chance to read them? Okay. Anyone like to make a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from April 1st.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, thank you. And that brings us to the first review of 112 State Road. It's HDPR 2420, built 1910. Replace existing single-pane wood rotted windows with double vinyl windows. Replace existing rotted front entry wood stairs with new wood frame and Trex stacking. Replace leaky roof, architectural asphalt shingles. The roof isn't our purview, but the entry and the windows and siding are. So who's here for 2420?
I will need to take the extra one if you have one. Thank you.
It's missing at the end.
Thanks.
Yes, hi.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Carlos Santos. I am here on behalf of the owner of 112 State Road. Like you said, we are replacing 15 existing windows with new vinyl replacement windows due to the deterioration of the wood windows. The windows are just drafty and leaky. They really need to be replaced. Some were cracked, you know. I think there's a total of 15, I said. The front entry door is also a wooden door, also rotted and in need of being replaced. Along with the stairs leading to that door, they're also wooden stairs, and they will be repaired, and the treads will be replaced with Trex decking. The roof needs to be replaced as well because it's leaking in various locations, and it's damaging the interior of the building, and it just looks terrible. So that's pretty much covers the scope of work.
All right.
You mentioned 15 windows, so I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Are they on all sides or just?
They're on all sides, yeah. It's the second floor was replaced before the owner bought the property, and the first floor was never replaced. So they're just, the air just flows, you know. So it needs to be done. And the front windows, the baseball field across the street. Every once in a while, you get a foul ball, it hits a window, and it happens.
Any other questions over here?
No.
Comments or anything? I did notice, well, have you begun any work on this project?
He has. There were there was a window in the back. I don't know if someone came through Cumberland's and broke the back window. A few on the side were replaced. The front, I believe the front has not been replaced. None of the windows on the front.
So you started the work before you got the permit?
Yeah, well, he didn't know. He didn't know that he
You
couldn't.
didn't get a building permit for the windows at all?
I believe the contractor went to get the building permit.
'Cause they
And he
would've-
called and
they
said,
would've
we need
known.
to stop. So I believe,
Okay,
as far as I know, he didn't know. He thought it was all set to go.
okay, so he started doing the replacement with a permit that was reviewed by the building department and
Thank you.
went
Correct.
all the way through?
As
All the
far
way
as
through?
far as I know.
So
As
it
far-
got through the building department and then they said, oh, wait, stop
The-
work, you need to go to historical because it's 75 years or older?
Correct, yes, yep. That's what I know,
And the owner is on the zoning board of appeals
yes.
for this town and knows,
Mhm. Well, I think he knows the zoning information, yeah.
okay.
I believe he was told it was okay, or else I don't think he would have done it. But it was kind of an emergency thing, you know? It
Yeah,
was-
the roof isn't our purview at all, it's the siding and the windows, and I think the thing that I had noticed is that you were putting up pictures of a building where the work had already started, yet you were asking for our approval to do this work. So it's
Right.
like, huh. And then the second part, not related to that, is just the way, when you look at that building, I know it's sandwiched in between Cumbies and a whole lot of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and Harvey's Shoes and that whole bit. But it has this kind of character to it
Yeah.
that I think comes across, for me anyway, from the two windows on either side of the front door with the steps. And I guess I was wondering if I noticed that the replacement of the windows on either side of that front door, those windows were not at all like the old windows that used to be there, and so that's gonna change the character of the front of the building completely. Is there any chance of doing a window replacement in the front, or doing something to the front that retains any of the character that it once
I
had?
believe the windows were ordered already. They measured them and ordered them already.
So it's in addition to the ones that are already stacked up next to the house?
They're actually inside, yeah.
Oh, they
yeah.
went inside, okay.
Well, they didn't want to leave them in the elements outside. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think he ordered the windows already, so I believe he wants to use the windows that he has. But they will be tastefully installed. It won't, you know, it won't, I don't think, I mean, if you look at the windows now, they're all broken and cracked. And I
Right,
don't
but
think
you could get a replacement that looks like what you have now, that's not cracked, as opposed to getting something completely modern and, you know, the three next, I think it was three next, side by side by side,
Mhm.
instead of
I
the-
think he put 4 windows in
Okay,
the front.
I'm
So
sorry, it's
it'll
been a
be,
little while.
and then there's, I believe there's 3 windows on the side now, and he's gonna replace 3 windows on the side.
Right,
of that
it's really the
porch.
front ones
Yeah,
that I was
I can
hoping.
bring it to his attention and let him know. Well,
Yeah, I guess that would be my only comment, is I think that the character of that building comes largely from that portion of it.
mhm.
And it would just be nice if you could retain that character instead of
I can,
making it more generic and,
I can definitely bring it to his attention. So,
Carlos, are you a design build guy, or are you a installer? What's your role?
no, I work for Hal, so
Oh, okay.
I'm here because he asked me to
I see.
represent
So
him.
you're not doing the work yourself?
Oh, no.
No, okay, I didn't realize that, okay.
I believe the contractor filed for a permit, I believe.
Okay. We just didn't,
Sue, do you have anything? Do you want to come sit down with us?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt the.
I appreciate that, but,
Thank you.
but now that you're here.
No, and my concerns were similar to what Christina was saying about initially that building, the front portion was a porch. And we were just hopeful that the replacement windows would reflect a similar feel to the way it was set up as a porch, that's all.
I can bring it to his attention, and I believe he has the windows, so he would have to just, I don't know, I don't know what he would say, but I think it needs to be done, so whatever it takes, I think he's gonna have to do it,
Would you like to say something else?
that's fine. I don't know if we usually have somebody come back, but just in general, if you would have come here first, we might have advised him on the kind of windows, or made some recommendations about what he buys if it wasn't cost prohibitive, and might have helped things out a little bit.
I appreciate that. Like I said, I don't believe he knew that the building was historic, because, I don't know, he just never, the windows upstairs were replaced and no one ever, so I can bring it to his attention, though,
Fair enough.
definitely.
Any other comments? No. Okay. Want to make a motion?
Okay, thank you.
Wait, we need to vote. Well, you may sit down, of course. Anybody want to make a motion? This one?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I make the motion that HDPR-24-20, 112 State Road, that we approve the demolition permit as proposed, with the stipulation that if he can change the windows,
Okay, now, what if he can't find that same window? Can he put something in similar in size or?
Yeah, we'd be happy to work with him if he wanted to try to figure something out. It's not a mandate. It's something that we're suggesting. We wish that we had been able to speak before the windows were purchased.
Right, right.
As was noted, and we talked about this already. So I think at this point, if there's a way to get the different windows that look more in character with the old house, that would be our wish.
Okay,
And I suppose at this point, you know, we're not gonna stop the demolition entirely based on those windows,
okay.
sounds like. But we haven't taken the vote yet, so. Do we have a second for Bev's motion?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh. Okay, it's unanimous, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, next up is HDPR 2421, 3 Dallas Street, built 1935. No demolition, just a new addition to the north, on the northwest corner of the building. There are some excellent architectural drawings, and I think the real change is that the back of the house will have a new section on it, so the back will look different. So is there anything else you'd like to come on up and tell us about? And
I'll just present any more information that I can. My name's Mark Lawton. I'm here on behalf of Andrew Clark, who's the owner of 3 Dallas Street. I'm the architect, and I assume you've all looked at the plans? Okay. Yeah, so we're not touching the front of the house at all, or the sides of the house. It's really just in the back. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what it is. It's just a small, basically 2 small rooms we're adding to it. We're not changing, not adding any new siding. We're going to use the same siding that's there. Same window style we're using. Yeah, any questions regarding that?
None.
I was just curious to know, when I was looking at the photographs, some of them, the house is gray, and then in one photograph, the house is red. Was that incorrect?
I'd have to go back and look at them. It's been over a week.
Okay, so which house, you know, what,
Well, I mean, the original house had shingles, just white cedar shingles, and that's what we're gonna use.
Sorry.
Anything that was red, I think might have been painted, but there have been sides that have been reshingled to be white cedar, to just be what the original was. So, the intent is to just re-side everything with the original white cedar shingles.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look at it again. I don't recall it being red.
I just thought it was peculiar that in some photographs, the house was one color, and then in the last photograph, the house looked like it was from a previous either
Was it-
owner or, and I was trying to figure out why that particular photograph was used instead of the current ones that were used.
And I did not submit, the contractor submitted whatever documentation for you to review, so I don't know which photos you're looking at. So there might have been, I mean, certain sides of the house it's kind of a mishmash of siding on the different sides. But I know the original siding was white cedar shingle, so that's what we're gonna do.
All right. Any questions or more comments? No? Okay, would somebody like to make a motion then? Or even if they wouldn't like to, would they please? Somebody please.
I don't have the
I'll
document
make a
in front of.
motion. I make the motion that the Dartmouth Historical Commission, having determined that the building at 3 Dallas Street is not historically significant, and approve the demolition permit for the work described in application HDPR 24-21.
I so approve,
You second that?
second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. You're free to proceed.
So for a next step, in terms of getting the permit, is there anything I need to know?
I'll contact Michelle in the morning, and she will change all the things on the portal to approved and send out the approval letter, and then the building department will let it fly
Okay, so like, we talking like a week or two, or just
tomorrow.
tomorrow? That's great. I can deal with that.
At least
Okay.
that's when we will do I will do my part,
Okay.
and then I think it happens fairly quickly after that, so.
That's great.
Okay, thanks
All
for
right,
coming.
Thank you.
Okay, next is HDPR 2422, which is 798 State Road, built 1900, siding overlay, new deck board using existing framing and footings. Is there anybody here to represent 798 State Road?
Anybody want to? Okay.
All right, well, we had a look at it, there's not much to it. It's just an old house that we need to decide what we want to do with it.
Is
Any
it
discussion?
historically- Is it a historic building?
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be here in front of us. Yes, it was
I
built
mean,
in
a historic
1900.
history, okay.
Nothing, George Washington didn't sleep there, no,
That we know of.
that we know of, right. Is there any other discussion about that?
Yeah, I couldn't find anything in the inventory, so I'm assuming it hasn't been done.
Yeah. Okay, well, if there's nothing to discuss there, and siding can always be taken off if it's, that's redoable, and new deck board doesn't seem to be an issue, so, somebody want to make a motion on that one, please? Yes,
Don't people have to be here to read this, or is
it's
this?
not required.
It is not required.
It is recommended, because if we have questions and they can't answer, if nobody's there to answer the questions, then we could just say no and not get anywhere, or kick it down the road, or whatever, so, we recommend that people come, but if they don't, we're still gonna vote on it and move it along, so.
So I'll make a motion that the Dartmouth Historical Commission, having determined that the building at 798 State Road is not historically significant, approve the demolition permit for the work described in HDPR 24-22.
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Second the motion.
Okay, that's approved. Next up is HDPR 2423, which is 289 Bakerville Road, built 1890, removing white cedar shingles and replacing with cedar impressions vinyl shingles. This one, I believe, does have
It does.
a Form B, it's DAR 623, the Captain John Smith House. So that one does have some significance to it. And it is part of the larger Gulf Hill Farm property. That's a DARA, I think. Anyway, so, yes.
Erin Burnett, I'm the homeowner. I'm replacing the cedar shingles with siding that looks like shingles, be tan. And I'm hoping to change the brown trim to white.
I've not heard of Impressions vinyl shingles, but it's kind of like a Trex material. It's a hard plastic.
It's like a hard plastic. It looks like shingles. It's pretty common now.
Okay.
I forget the name of the brand.
Certainty.
Certainty, okay.
We do see a lot of that come through.
3x5 block, it's got 5-inch strips of shingles, and it looks like individual shingles, but it's all vinyl.
Wow. Sounds good.
Comments or questions?
And that's the extent of the work that's being done?
Yeah, and some trim boards to be replaced because they're getting rotten.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Is any of the trim affected by this? Are the corner trim boards?
Yeah, some of them will because they have to be replaced anyway.
And what are those? Are those going to be AZEK or?
PVC?
It's also a vinyl product, 5.5-inch vinyl product.
Is that what's on there now?
No.
That's
No, I mean, what is the dimension?
Oh, it's about similar size.
Similar
Yes.
size,
The
okay.
house has, some of it's 3.5, some of it's 6. We're gonna make it all 5.5.
Okay.
The newer sections are smaller.
It sounds good.
Any further discussion or comments or questions? Okay, who would like to make the motion this time?
I'll make the motion. I make the motion after finding that 289 Bakerville Road, being historic, but not
Historically
significantly,
preserved.
well, I know it's just significant, that they replace the cedar shingles and with the vinyl impressions as proposed, and replace the rotted trim board and the brown trim to white as proposed.
Okay,
I'll second.
thank you. All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
That's it.
And last up is last minute addition, which is 2424, 413 State Road, built in 1860, removing the clapboard and installing vinyl.
Yeah. Hi, everyone, I'm Ricardo, I'm the owner. These are some pictures. Sorry, this is last minute. So I'm going to be removing the clapboard, and I accidentally didn't put the deck, but we're gonna keep the same size deck. We're just gonna redo it, because if you look at the pictures, there's a few you can go through. The boards are actually all buckled, and unfortunately, they have brick underneath it, and the brick is not safe to walk on. So obviously, talking to the building commissioner, we were talking about putting the code for concrete, and then switching that over to the AZAC. The clapboard, a lot of it is rotted, hence the reason why we're going to do vinyl. I'm gonna do the board and backing because it has more of a fancier look. And then if you look at the front picture, I don't know if it's called a dormer, but they have cedar, they have shingles, so I'm gonna do that cedar impression as well. Very nice stuff, just very expensive. So, and we're gonna end up going white, because unfortunately that dark color is very dark when you're at the house. So,
Will you be replacing the columns? What's going on with the columns?
yeah, so even if you look at one of those pictures, so there was an addition onto that house done in the 90s, I would not 100% sure. The original house has these nice beefy looking columns, so we're trying to keep the same look, just in AZAC, because I don't like to do heights and I don't want to power wash the house every other day. We were trying to keep it with white and black. White. My wife watches too much HGTV, and she sees everything with white and black now, so that's all she thinks of. So it would be white vinyl. The AZAC, the corner boards would be white as well, just the roof, and then would all be black. And then the windows would be black too. The windows have been changed already into vinyl. Most of them are all just a double pane. I want to go with more the 6/6, like what you guys have here, just because it looks a little bit more fancier.
Yeah.
So, I know it's on the Route 6 and stuff, so that's the reason why. I don't know what happened to the Viking. It was not mine. She sold it way before I bought the building, from my understanding. But there was some stuff that they used to hold that Viking down, and there's like chains and stuff, and obviously, metal on wood, eventually the water got behind it and started rotting a lot of it away. So unfortunately, and then if you look at the addition, they probably have just a piece of wood, like an L. I want to see if I can make the same look to match both sides, to keep it more uniformity. So I just didn't put all that on the permit, because honestly, it's my first time pulling a permit, and I didn't realize you have to be very literate. Sorry.
Are you doing the work yourself?
I am not. I'm afraid of heights. So I'll be supervising, making sure all those nails are in. Yeah, I don't really like that corner, but yeah, for the most part, I'd rather stay on the ground.
Sweet.
So,
Good deal.
can I ask a question?
sure.
Are you gonna repurpose the handicap ramp and stuff? Is that?
So that was actually a tenant. They took it. He's long gone, unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
so
the-
they took it.
Okay.
But we are gonna put a handicap ramp on one side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
And then
but
the
that
little-
one was for the back house, and that was the addition, and he unfortunately passed
Okay.
a couple days
And
after I bought
then the little building that's off to the side, was that is that part of your project too? The little tiny building that's off to the side?
This?
Yes?
This is a garage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the garage will look just like the house.
Okay, great, thank you.
The garage right now has cement, but so I'm gonna be honest with you, my wife doesn't really like the garage, but I'm gonna make it match the house so she can like it. So, that's the reason why. I didn't really take pictures of that because, honestly, no real windows on that.
We just want you covered so that you're not,
Yeah, no, yeah, because honestly, like I said, I didn't even know that, because I know it doesn't have one of the historic numbers on the house or anything. It doesn't have like how they had the captain thing. I just, like I said, growing pains. So-
Most houses don't, even if they are.
Well, yeah, learning that now,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
It does have, it's part of the inventory, it's DAR 688.
Okay.
It was, the earliest resident that they have recorded for that property was John B. Demers. There was no information about him, but just so everybody understands, if they don't, what, Ricardo?
Ricardo, yeah.
Yeah,
Rick,
what he was
whatever.
talking about is that there was a little building off to the side on Summit Avenue.
So,
That was a
Knick-knack.
Scandinavian gift shop,
Yeah.
for everybody who remembers, right?
yeah, that's why she had the
And that
Viking.
was the Viking,
Yeah,
right?
the story goes, she rented it to a student from UMass Dartmouth who was in art class. I looked it up. He drew and made the giant Viking. She was Norwegian, I believe, or maybe I'm not 100% sure.
I didn't know whether it was Swedish or Norwegian,
Yeah,
but-
so I guess she was selling, the husband was, I'm a vendor, I deliver goldfish in Pepperidge Farm to Shaw's. One of the people that work at Shaw's told me, because he actually lived and he grew up in the area, and he knew Miss Sylvia. They said that the husband was like a welder, that's why there's electricity and gas in the garage. And then when she got older, she built the addition, because then she started turning the actual main part of the storefront as her retail store, is what she was doing. I don't know 100%, but the guy at Shaw said that she was selling like knickknacks and stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
right.
So I listen. I never saw her. I never met her. I bought the building was from a buddy of mine who bought it from his daughter. I guess she ended up passing, but I guess that's when they got rid of the Viking.
and then,
Sometime.
and then there was a gentleman that lived in the house who was Norwegian, and he rode a 10-speed bike everywhere around. You would see him pedaling
Oh really?
all over the place. Did he leave the bike in the basement or something?
No. There was tenants in the house when I had acquired
Okay.
the house. I mean, you could still see like in the garage and in the actual like first floor, they like display cases and stuff that they were like she was displaying stuff. But they actually the back addition was perfectly level to walk right in from one side to the other. So the way Mike, the gentleman at Shaw's, who was explaining to me, he was like, yeah, when she got older, she would just stay on that level, and then she would just walk open and then open up the store.
Great.
So,
Is it,
I'm Portuguese, so I'm not Norwegian. So
is it zone multifamily or is it? single family?
Zone GB, general business. Yeah.
That's the,
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Somebody make a motion, please.
I make a motion that, I don't have my paperwork. Go ahead. Somebody else motion, please, because I don't have.
I'll make a motion that the Dartmouth Historical Commission, having determined that the building at 413 State Road, not historically significant, approves the demolition permit for for the work described in application HDPR 2424.
and I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Bob?
Yes, I.
Any opposed? No? Unanimous?
Good.
You're all set.
Hey, good luck.
Thanks.
You guys want to help? You guys are totally more than welcome.
No,
It's gonna take
no.
a few minutes to
I have to-
get it together. So.
It'd be nice to know where the Viking went.
I know everyone asked me. Truth be told, what happened was when I Googled it, I had looked up on, it was Fun 107, and I guess I did a history piece on it, and then that's how I learned that part. But I went back as far as I could possibly go on Google Earth, and it was already gone. So it was like almost 2008. I don't know, maybe the building had a lot of vegetation growing, so I don't know if vegetation just started eating told me that she actually took it and sold it, the daughter, so I
There's
never
a-
actually met her.
There's a Facebook Dartmouth, I don't know if it's Dartmouth Helping Dartmouth or Dartmouth of the Past or something like that. And it was a topic a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago.
And
So
if
it's
you
just
actually-
kind of funny, so you might be able to,
Well, if you
Get some
Google
local
it
one.
right now, Google calls it the Viking Hotel.
oh, really?
That's why I was like, yeah. And then some people called it an Indian. I'm like, no, it was a Viking.
Oh, it was a
So
Viking.
that's why I was like, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little too young to remember that. All due respect.
Lucky you.
So,
All right,
Thanks
you're
a
all
lot.
set. Thank you.
guys have a great day.
See you later.
Bye.
Good night.
All right, so that was our last HDPR. What brings you to us?
Thank you. I'm Paul Cusson from 1 Cleveland Street, the owner, and I know I'm not on the agenda tonight, and we didn't realize, I've come before the commission about three and a half years ago on an addition. I live on the corner of Cleveland and Bridge, and came about 3 years ago to get permission to do an addition to the house, which was approved, and the addition was completed, and a certificate of occupancy was issued. We are now want to add an addition to the addition, and putting a master bedroom on the first floor, which all bedrooms are on the second floor. So I did not realize that the building permit process now is online, and it wasn't when we originally applied. So I just found out late this afternoon that the meeting was being held tonight, and we're trying to proceed and get our building permits as quickly as possible. So I brought along some drawings to show you what we're proposing, and hopefully, I know I'm not on the agenda and I don't know what the process is, but hopefully you can approve it so that when I do go online, we can get the sign off from, if the board approves it, from the commission.
Okay, well, why
so-
don't you start by showing us
Sure,
what
great.
you've got there?
Yeah.
and
I'll
I
explain the
understand the process is new.
And we had, I know tonight a lot of people talk about the cedar impressions, and that's what we actually had done and got approved, and I think a couple of people from the commission came by and actually felt it because they couldn't believe that they were cedar impressions. And they looked really good.
Yeah, we've had people come in with samples
Well,
before.
we had yeah, and we did bring, back then, we brought our samples in, and so if you, so there again, it's on the corner of Cleveland and Bridge, and what we're proposing, if you look at the plan, it's in the middle of the sheet, the right side elevation, and you can see the docker portion of the drawing is what we're proposing as an addition, which is approximately 19 feet long and approximately 15 feet wide. Well, plus it's more than that. It's 15 feet wide plus 2 closets, so it's about 20 feet wide. And where the design is in keeping with the, so when you look at the darkened portion, the white portion to the left was the addition that was approved and built. So we're keeping the same look, if you will, and the same material, the same windows, same type of windows as was in the addition, and also the same, the original, I don't know if it's the original, but yeah, this is the original siding of the house, those windows. So everything blends in architecturally, I believe, and we've added these little dormers as well, the one to take. So I've got all of the elevations here, and all of the, it's all been rendered. So you can see the all sides, and you also get a look from a perspective point of view.
Can I ask the right side elevation in the middle there, is the addition portion, is it facing Bridge?
Yes.
Okay.
That whole, that is on Bridge Street. So if you are standing on Bridge Street, that right side elevation is what you see.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, you're across the street from the firehouse, is that right?
Yes, the firehouse on the front side.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Right.
All right.
We're right across the street from Judson, and if you're
Yep.
System, well, he used to be Assistant Fire Chief, I don't know what he is now, but I know he's
Beautiful
still on the
house,
fire
if you
department.
go by it. It's
Pardon?
really- It's a beautiful house, so, I mean, it's really it really lightens up that bridge and
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland Street.
Does your wife do color design? Color, no, I'm thinking of somebody else, excuse me, sorry.
No, we've done an awful lot of work to the house over the last 15 years. We put these porches, we came through the board at different times, but all the porches that are on the house, which were in keeping with a lot of the original design, and also the changes we made in the garage. The house was built about 1885 in that era. I think it's actually maybe earlier than that, but I don't think there were any records that the commission gave me last time when we went through the process.
That was a ZBA case? When you did the addition, why did you have to go to ZBA?
When we did the addition in the front, because we were closer to Cleveland Street, so we had to get a variance to allow that to happen, which was granted. But that has nothing to do with this side. That was on Cleveland Street.
I don't know if anybody wants to see the house itself. Do you want me to pass this around? Are you good?
I walk my dog by it all the time. It's a pretty house.
I'm just not sure how to proceed with this because we don't have an application.
We don't have an application. We typically need to have this information with it 48 hours in advance of our meeting.
Yeah,
So
but
this doesn't meet with how we have to approach it.
yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm here because I just realized it, and I don't want to hopefully wait another month. And I think it's a procedure, it's not a bylaw.
Actually,
It is a bylaw.
we're held to the open meeting law.
Right, and
So we need to have our agendas in 48 hours prior to, which means that this should have been in last week.
I understand that.
So we can't really, we can review it, but we can't approve anything.
Even though if there was a mistake on the if he didn't know of the application
It doesn't matter,
process?
we had a similar
So,
situation as this last month, and they had to wait. It's just the way it is.
Well, that's a problem for us. You know, when I called the building department today, they were very not helpful at all. We asked them the procedure, and it's not Sue, it was I think she's relatively new, so
Alda,
I don't know what the name was, my office had called, and so I'd like to find a way somehow to, I've been through the process, we know what the process is, there's no issue here, so
The issue is that
I don't think
you
there's
weren't
a-
on the agenda and we're held.
but you're not a public hearing. You're a public hearing, but I don't,
it's an open meeting.
I understand it is open. It is open, right? And I'm here in an open.
Your
I'm just trying to find a way to, I'm sorry.
Your property is subject to the bylaw because it is of a certain date and you're changing more than 25% of one side, so that's
No, it's not. It's less than 25%.
of any one side of the building?
Yes. It's much less than 25%. So maybe I don't have to be here. In other words, if you take a look at the docking area, which is this here is from that end to this end is 19 feet.
Right,
it's
where
less- and
it
it's le-
attaches to this building.
And attaches to this. This is all
Right.
attached.
So at this point, at this junction, where this attaches to this, you're making a change to that side of the
We're
building.
making a change from here to here, right? This is all one side. This is also the side.
And so is the end of your previous addition.
Manager?
Yes. So you add all of the square footage.
So you're saying, Chris, from this side, essentially, this is a
Override everything?
side right here that,
Right.
Yes, where it attaches to here, right here, this is a side of the house. This is the new addition, correct?
Correct.
So this currently is a side of the house,
It's the back of the house.
which is one of the sides.
Right, correct. Yeah.
So if you are adding something that attaches to that side of the house and you are now covering it, that is changing 25% of any one side. because you're covering it up with a new addition.
Not covering it up. It's new. There's no color. When you say
It's
cover-
not gonna look the same, is it?
No, it's an addition, but when you say,
Right.
we're not covering anything.
Right, but just the former side of the house is not gonna be the side of the house anymore, right, correct?
Say that again?
The former side of the house
Yes.
here is no longer gonna be the outside exterior wall. Is that right? Yeah.
Correct, yeah, yes,
Right,
she's-
right, so
you're
that's
correct.
a change,
So,
yeah, so it's
yeah.
exactly like 3 Dallas Street that just came in here and got the approval for an addition that is changing that side of their house.
I heard what they said, and I don't know what that percentages is, but
Okay,
the
well,
back
I,
of Dallas Street is, I'm not gonna speak on.
it's just
anything
a,
else.
I'm not
we
trying
have,
to be
we have two
obstructive.
questions. One question is, that brings you to us is it older than 75 years? The second
Yeah, it is,
question
it is.
are you changing more than 25% of any one side of the building? And you are changing 25% of one side of the building by adding
I see
to
what
it.
you mean. I'm thinking, when you said 25%, I'm thinking 25% of the floor area,
I understand that.
then you're not
Yeah,
saying that.
I knew you were misunderstanding, but not on purpose. So, now that we get it, our bylaw requires that you fill out the application 48 hours ahead of time, and that you are on the agenda, which gets published. And that is the technicality that is
Published in the paper?
on
So
the
it's-
web,
there's
on
no-
the
It's not
website.
like a ZBA hearing where you would have a notice that you have to publish.
No,
When you
it's
say
not in the, it's not printed, published. It
It has
means
to
that
be-
it has to be up on the website.
Okay.
And on in the hallway as well outside
So let
of.
me ask you a question. So I could maybe apply for a foundation permit only? And then,
A foundation permit? I guess so.
which
Yeah.
is done all the time for, you know, like we do that on new construction. So then.
I guess that doesn't really, that's not changing any one side of the house, so that's a different permit entirely from us.
So there should be a,
Except technically, the building department should not issue the permit until it passed, until we
they're
approve
only
the change.
issuing the foundation permit.
Well, that's up to them.
I didn't realize it was a separate, I thought it was a separate stage of the overall building permit, but you're saying there's a separate foundation permit?
Oh, yeah,
And
you
then the
can,
building
for
permit.
new construction or anything, you can get a foundation permit only, then you gotta go back and
Okay.
get the building permit.
Okay,
That's
I didn't know
right
that.
on their website, yeah,
Yeah.
we do that all the time.
It would be a special
Okay.
permit.
Sorry?
It's a special permit.
Okay. What are your,
It's listed under as a special permit.
But you don't have to go to the ZBA for that.
No, no,
So it's a special permit by the building department.
right, yeah. And then you'd get extra charge for that, yeah. Usually, because it's, usually when you do it all at once, they incorporate everything. When you do it separately, then,
It's a different fee.
Yeah.
Yes.
so I guess that would be out of our
So how do I go
purview.
about doing a formal application?
It's right online, you just go on the portal and you submit your documents
On the
and,
historic commission portal or on
The
the
building department.
Okay.
yep, and then it comes to us and we see it and we have it on our list and we put you on the agenda for next meeting. And you don't need to make a separate set, we'll keep these, you'll be first,
Okay,
and it should go smoothly.
that's right.
But
Okay,
that's the process.
okay.
And I'm sorry that they didn't give you a more helpful answer, but
Yeah,
that's
she
not,
was actually pretty rude, actually, on the phone.
that's unfortunate.
Is there a quicker override of waiting a whole month?
No,
No.
that's why we just discussed it.
Okay.
That's it. All right, thanks for coming and
So
thanks
you
for
wanna keep- So
those.
you're gonna, I'll be resubmitting these, or how do you wanna do that?
And we could just keep them in our possession if you,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, why don't we just keep them?
Sure.
Sure.
And we'll see you next month and we'll just,
One,
does everybody,
Thank
What
you.
is the address again?
one Cleveland.
One Cleveland. What's that?
You want file?
I do. I live on Elm, just right in the area, so.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks for
Thanks.
coming. I'm sorry it wasn't the
Appreciate it.
answer you
Okay,
wanted,
thank
but.
you.
All right, so that takes care of all the HDPRs. And now we're on to the other business. And I know it looks like a lot, but some of them will go faster than others. The old police station is on here because, as we all know, Sean McGinnis is no longer, well, he's not going to be with us after June 15th, I think, or is it
June
July?
15th, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah, and he was the one who submitted the demolition proposal for the police station. He had this idea for the rec center, et cetera. And furthermore, the meeting has not occurred, where Sue is going to be part of this, group that was gonna get together a proposal for the town meeting, which is coming right up in June. They haven't even met yet, they haven't discussed anything, so coming up with a proposal to sell the police station, which was supposed to be the next step, I don't see how that's gonna happen, but, so my suggestion is that we write a letter to the select board suggesting that, given all these circumstances, we don't think about making another move with the police station until at least the October meeting, town meeting. And that we continue to, or start by having a meeting with Sue and the others who are supposed to be on this.
Let me understand, is this gonna be, project to be on the June town meeting?
It was supposed to be that there was going to be an appraisal of the old police station done by a firm in Providence, is that right?
I don't know where they're from.
Anyway, a firm was going to come in and assess, give an appraisal for the old police station. And then then they were going to meet with this committee to go over that appraisal and to draft a warrant for the June town meeting. And we're suggesting that since so many circumstances have changed, we'd like that process to be delayed. And the committee hasn't met yet, that was supposed to have met long before now. Sue, do you have any updates on that?
And all I know is that they're not expecting the appraisal until the 28th of May, which gives us days to cobble something in relation to the warrant article. The warrant article is pretty nondescript, as I've seen the draft. So I think this might be might be prudent to just delay it. I don't know what they'll decide in the end, but there has been no talk of a meeting of the committee.
So it seems like, given all those circumstances, that it would be a good idea for us to suggest a delay until at least October, so that the committee can meet and maybe we can get some different appraisals. We don't even know what this one's gonna come in, but that turnaround time is just really fast.
So this step revolves primarily around making an assessment of whether the building is rehabitable or savable and at what cost, at what price, I presume.
Right.
Has anybody put a price on it yet?
No,
That's what the
this is
appraisal
for.
is.
Even though the town is in hock for $100 million plus,
Good
That's the
point.
budget. That's this year's budget.
but it hasn't been approved yet.
It won't be until town meeting.
If they approve it, then we're gonna be in big trouble.
Well, that still doesn't,
It still doesn't require a 2.5 override, so no, we're not in big trouble, but we're heading in that direction.
We're gonna be in big trouble, especially the seniors that live in this town. And I mean, to save the police station is gonna be, $20 million to make it look presentable for a would-be buyer.
That's not what that's about, Phil.
no.
That's not what it's about. It's about coming up with a strategy to, the finance committee has already said that they would prefer that the property not be sold. So then we have to start looking at other options where someone might be interested in coming in to lease the property and convert it into affordable housing, which is all the more, and you talk about
Even
not,
though there was Agent Orange in the place.
there's no Agent Orange in the police station, and there, and if,
Or
the-
Legionnaire's
Wait,
disease.
this, we're descending into discussion back and forth, which,
Well, no,
It's not gonna happen.
you're on a train, you're just chugging along, even though the building is unoccupied, and who's footing the bill to keep it sanitary? Who is in there cleaning it, and who is taking
Nobody.
care of the building?
that's not
Was it
what this
just sitting
discussion is
there?
about.
It's
So,
just sitting
I'm sorry,
there.
I'm gonna stop discussion, because
All right,
that's not what
fine.
this is about
But-
right now. We're talking about whether we should write a letter to the select board suggesting that the process, which was going to be rushed and incomplete to get it on the warrant for June, we're going to suggest that that be delayed so that the process can be done in a more thorough way, and perhaps other options can be entertained.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
it.
well, let's vote for a letter and a delay tonight, while we're all here.
I think I can handle that, thank you. I'm gonna continue to chair the meeting, and when we get to that point, I'll say something about it, okay?
Thank you.
Are there any other bits of discussion that you'd like to say about this? Okay, so the suggestion is that we write a letter, and if anybody else would like to do it, or work with me on it, or take it on entirely, I'd be happy to have them do that. But we're gonna suggest that this is a rushed process that needs to be extended until October, for the reasons that we just discussed, with the support of the finance committee to actually look at something besides selling it.
Until we have a clearer picture of the status of the building and the
Right,
issues
and what's it
involved with.
worth, wait
the
till the appraisal
demolishing
comes
versus-
in,
Yeah,
yep.
Okay.
At least get the appraisal and not have
I
it be
think
the
that's a good
next
idea to
week.
be on record with the town
Okay,
as a commission.
okay. Would you like to make a motion? Is this something to vote on, or shall we just agree that,
no, I think we should make a motion.
okay?
Yep.
I'll make the motion that either Christina and in committee craft a letter to delay the process until fall town meeting on the determination of the repurposing of the old police station at 249 Russell's Mills Road.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Aye. Okay, and one opposed. Okay, the next item's Form Bs. Several of us met in April and discussed what the next batch would look like, how many of them we could afford to do at a time, and it's less and less all the time. I talked to Holly, and she said that it could cost up between $400 and $500 to do a single Form B, which is a different amount than what the MHC does for their contract work. It would make sense for us to continue with PAL doing it because they've done so many of them in the past. But before we even get to that point, what we decided to do is take a look at what buildings have not been assessed yet, and don't have a Form B, and try to prioritize, and I think we came up with, excuse me, let me just get my notes here. We were going to look at doing some for 10 to 12 between the years of 1900 and 1920. We're gonna take a look at Judy's list from 1875 to 1900 to see which ones were not done and maybe do 10 of those. We were gonna look at the Smith Mills Camp. We're gonna look and see which properties were inaccessible that were on the previous lists to see whether we should go back and maybe change ownership or something, and we could have access to those. There were a couple of specific houses, 750 Potomska, 227 Bakerville. Linda asked whether we could maybe focus on some of the barns on Elm Street. Some of the Form Bs are on houses, but we should check and make sure that the outbuildings, especially the barns, have also been assessed. She also suggested that we look back at the last 6 months of our meetings here and see if there's anything really interesting that's come across our desks that we want to pursue. And what else? Yeah, I think that was about it.
Well, we should make sure that we're sort of keeping it even between North Dartmouth and South Dartmouth.
Right,
That's true.
yeah, make sure that there's an even spread there. So that was where we got to. We didn't set a time for a next meeting, but I did start to look at some of the properties on those lists, and I have a couple that I want to suggest. Anybody is welcome to join if they're to have their input on these as well. It's not just an exclusive group here, so hopefully we'll have another meeting maybe within the next month and see if we can narrow it down, see what people's ideas are. Do you know if Linda's back?
I don't.
I should ask her. But she can always join by phone.
Before we do that, do we have to first apply to CPA for funding, or how does that work? What's the process?
I think, I don't know how it was done last time, but I know that they have always approved out, not always, but they have approved out of their general fund up to $10,000. And I think they're just kind of, I've brought it up several times, they're kind of expecting us. So I don't believe we need to do it first. I think we should get our list first and then see whether Powell will be able to do it, how many it would be, and then go to the CPC with, here's what we want specifically. They like numbers and a proposal, so. Anything else? No? Yes?
The PAL books that were given to the Historic Commission, are they in the files back there so someone could look at it again?
I have one copy right here that's gonna go back in the files. I have only gotten the one and then the digital copy. And then I have signed out one of the old versions, and that is at my house. But there's a note in there to say Chris Sewell has a copy of it.
Oh, no, I understand that, but I would like to look at it again. I didn't get a chance to look at it thoroughly the last time
Okay.
it came in, so.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back. I had a look at it. I took some notes. I definitely need to do more, but it's, yeah, it's for our use.
Chris,
Yes.
can we go back to the letter that we're,
Yes.
just quickly, do you think we should give the Dartmouth Weekly a heads up? I think this should be in, that they should know that we are making a recommendation or suggestion that, whatever the wording is, but that we are making a suggestion that this be held off till the fall meeting, because we need more information.
Yep, good idea.
I think the townspeople should be aware of that.
Right, yep. Excellent suggestion. Will do. Okay, we also met with the new building inspector. Would you like to say anything about that? I don't want to be the only one talking.
Well, no. So we went over a few issues that were on the computer, especially with the glitches and stuff. There was a couple of notes, I don't have it in front of me, but I did send it. We were talking about the historic, making sure that it goes to us. And he wants to get the building permits out in 30 days. So I know there was a discussion about maybe if it was something that was minor.
If it was like for like.
Yeah.
or it was really minor, we were going to, you know, it was not something that they needed to do
Yeah,
the whole process. So I'm really gonna try to keep an eye on the building permits and see whether they're like for like. But we were also talking to Chad about making a section where they describe, within the area where they describe what work they're gonna be doing, to actually say, will you be replacing the existing siding with identical existing siding, or will you be changing it? And the same thing with the windows, will the windows be the same form, et cetera, et cetera? So Chad was gonna
Right.
add something like that.
and I think we went over the 25% rule too.
Yes, we talked about that again.
Is it your intention that if it's the like for like, it's not only, 6 windows, but it's the same material, or just how it looks?
That's something that we should discuss
Okay.
further, because I think when they come here to us and they ask whether it's something they can do, we do ask them about whether it's wood or vinyl in the frame and whether that's a change. To my knowledge, we've never said no because they're changing out wood for vinyl.
Right.
But I'm one of the newer ones on the commission. Do you have anything to say about that?
Look at you.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's just part of the process, so I don't see that it's an inconvenience if they're removing cedar shingles, wood cedar shingles, and they're replacing them with the same, then I don't see any issue with that.
Right.
Right, that look the same, or are the
No,
same material?
no, that are actual cedar
Wood, okay, got it.
shingles, yeah.
Got
It's when they start this, changing from wood to cedar impressions,
Right.
which is a vinyl product. I think that we kind of, in a lot of cases, the contractor will bring a sample, so we actually get to see what it's gonna look like, and there's no mystery.
Yeah, but the question with the windows, if you were replacing a 6/6 with a wood frame, with a 6/6 with, not wood frame, how do we feel about that being a like-for-like situation? Because it's not 100%.
Right.
But from the street, for the appearance of the old house and keeping it stylistically the same, it would appear like for like. More so than Cedar Impressions would.
I don't wanna get into a situation where you then drive by and say, hey, what happened to that house? It's supposed to be 6/6. Oh, well, we couldn't get them, they were back ordered or some, I mean, and at that point, the horse is out of the barn.
Right.
I think,
What about the,
Wait, I think Bob was next.
I think Mass Historic recently came out with with an article on replacement materials that they find acceptable as acceptable replacements for
Oh, okay.
exact like for like, such as AZEC is instead of wood boards. And so they may have something like, snap-in muntins versus the, real muntins or mullions. And so there might be a sort of a favored list of replacement materials for historic homes that.
There's, Renewal by Anderson has a composite that looks, if you look at it from a distance, it looks like wood,
Yeah.
but it's not wood. It's some composite structure, so, I mean, if that's on the list, then I guess we could always say, well, but then are there other companies that are doing comparable things, and it gets, I don't know.
But even if somebody comes here and tells us, oh, we're replacing this with this, if they don't have samples of it, we still don't know
Right,
until it's in.
right.
Or drawings? drawings
Right.
pass
These
muster.
black
Well,
frame windows, they
drawings
put
are
it
one
on
thing, but then you
historic
can't
houses.
feel the
They
material,
did
you
it on
can't
a
see what it's
house
going to
on
look
Elm
like
Street.
in the house.
True, true.
Yeah.
Yes, Bill?
Black, I noticed there's a house on Elm Street, and it's a historic house. It's set down right near the, when you come in from the police station and you go up, they got these black frame windows. Are those, is there a choice for historic, keeping the windows in line with the historic house that's, and then they're putting these black frame window application?
It's not a historic district, so nobody has anything to say about what colors they use.
So anything from Russell's Mills down to Peyton Aram, they can use pretty much anything they want on,
Much.
on the, wow. There's no law about that, like no,
No, it's
No.
not a historic district.
Hayden Aram did not want to be a historic district.
oh, wow. Now, when did that start? I'm
That's off topic, so you can look it up.
sorry.
Bob?
Generally speaking, in historic districts, this is true in Russell's Mills Historic District, and other historic districts around the state. The choice of color is not a consideration. You know, people can paint them pink if they want.
Okay.
You hope they're not going to, but,
But,
and actually,
yeah, all right,
and actually black is a traditional color for historic
okay.
windows.
This isn't Nantucket.
Because there was that plaque that was on that building in Peyton Aram that was a historic district. And they took it off when they did some siding, but the Historic Commission didn't bite hard enough to find out what happened to the historic district sign that was on this building, so.
Well, maybe you could track that down for us.
Me?
Yeah.
I'd have to go digging in the landfill. If you want me to do that, I will.
No, we're good. Okay, so thank you for the update on the building inspector, and we can talk to Chad further. I'm gonna look into that list of supplies, and we need to work with Chad to get the wording to be more specific on the building application, so that if it is truly like for like, we can get it signed off quickly, and if it's not, they know that they need to apply for us, and the building isn't gonna get approved until we see it, and it's not gonna be 30 days.
Hey, could you tell me his name again?
Randy,
Bissett,
Ra-
Bissett, isn't Bissett? I thought that's what it was.
Randy Bissett?
Bissett.
I wrote it down, but didn't bring that piece of paper.
Now, I know that he did say he was gonna make sure that those permits were issued within 30 days, no matter what.
So how many days do they have to get them in?
Well, it's once they've already applied. He said he wanted to. He said he was going to do it no matter what.
He said that the permits were gonna be issued within 30 days.
But they won't be if the person has to apply to historical.
I don't know.
All right, I'll follow up on that.
So the process normally is somebody applies for the building permit online, and that triggers, if it's historically, more than 75 years old, it triggers something that comes to us, or Christine in this case, Chris. And so that's the process, right? Okay.
It starts with a resident, RBP or a CPB for commercial buildings.
Okay.
And we are a step on that. So then when it comes to us, we need to look through the application. It's supposed to automatically trigger for us if it's 75 years old and more than 25% of anyone's side is being changed. So if those two questions are not both answered yes, then the permit would go through in 30 days. If it's 75 years old and they're not changing 25% or more, then it still goes through. But if both of those answers are yes, then they're supposed to have to fill out an HDPR. So that's what we went over. But we did say that there would be some that would be yes to both of those questions, where I could sign off on it faster, or whoever could sign off on it faster, if it was a like for like. Like if they were reshingling the entire house and it was 1,800, as long as it's Cedar Shakes going on after Cedar Shakes,
Yeah.
then we can sign off on that without having them come here. So, that's where we're at, but I'll just circle back maybe. All right, the next one is the Plummer Bridge plaque update.
Sure. So I just happened to know from being on the Veterans Board that Matt Brulette has possession of the plaque, and it's in pretty poor repair, and so this has been floating around for a long time, too long. And so I think the intention is to we could probably use Veterans Advisory Board money. There's plenty of it, and just get put out a request for bids, or just get the thing cleaned and to make a cast of it so that we got a copy of it someplace.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, that's the notion. So I'll work with Matt to get that done, and I don't see any reason why it would take. We can sort of control our own purse, so I don't see any reason why it would take more than, let's say, 45 days max
Wow,
to get that done and get it.
it's been years.
I know. I don't know why. Not everything has got to be so difficult. So I talked with Matt about a couple days ago, and he said, "Yeah, we can just do that." So I'll ask him to get a couple bids, and we'll just go with the best one. And it's to me, it's the kind of thing that that is the mission of the Veterans Advisory Board, is to take care of, have parades and take care of the 12 official monuments around town that are dedicated to veterans. And so this is one of them, even though it's not. I think it was bought with private funds initially. It's not an official one, but I think it sort of falls into the category that we can do it that way.
That's
So
great.
I'll give an update to it when I get more news.
Okay, thank you. Smith Mills Library update, Sue?
I actually went and spoke with the people that operate the Smith Mills Camp Meeting and asked them if they might be interested in moving the old library back in there, if they would have any use for it, either as a library or a reading room or some kind of a gathering space. And I'm going to be attending their board meeting on May the 21st, and I'll have more to report after that.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
And you're up again for Washburn Lane. Some good news there.
I was able to contact Jörn Vandenherk from Salve Regina University, their Preservation Studies program, and I'm going to be meeting with him on the 10th of May, which is this Friday, at 2 Washburn Lane. He's considering using that as a study house for some students from Salve.
So they would be doing measuring and
Measure
mapping
drawings
drawing.
and taking lots of photographs and documenting, whatever needs to be documented.
And then further about Nathaniel?
I have not heard any more. I think Nathaniel is gonna be submitting a proposal for the moving of the house.
Yeah, I think he was getting 3 of those last I talked to him, so. It doesn't look like we've been able to did you ever hear back from
I was gonna say, no, I contacted, what is his name, Hogg or?
Hobbs?
Yeah,
Yeah, Matthew Hobbs.
Yeah, I contacted him to offer, to show him 2 or 3 houses that had been rehabbed of that era, and I didn't hear back from him.
I followed up to say, did you hear from Bob? And I didn't hear back either. So, A for effort, but,
Right.
but he has been working with Nathaniel, so I think he's not interested in keeping it and doing anything with it himself, which is a shame. But if Nathaniel could at least get it moved and save it as a structure, that would be better than a complete demolition.
Who's Nathaniel? Who's Nathaniel?
Nathaniel House, he was the,
He's a framing carpenter.
Preservation
post and beam
carpenter.
preservationist, yeah. So he's got some expertise in old houses and can assess how old they are, and he went through the house with us. All right, thank you.
One thing,
Yes, I'm sorry.
when you get a chance, if Sue, if you could text me how to spell that gentleman's name from Salve Regina.
Get
Okay.
that the first time?
Are we branching out over into Newport now for preservation stuff?
No.
No, too much.
As
Bridge-
soon as, like, they going around, are you gonna, is this part of our preview now?
No, Phil.
For-
No,
No, it's just
no, it's
certain.
not, and that's not on the agenda. So we're moving
it's not
on
on
to
the
Bridge
agenda.
Street. I was contacted by the fire chief for, the fire station on Bridge Street to see if we might be interested in working with him or doing anything or discussing the old fire station, which is in a state of somewhat disrepair. I don't know when the new one was built. I think it was just before, it must have been the early 80s.
I think it's even newer than that.
Okay. Can't remember if there's a new one before I left. But anyway, he's reached out he did emailed us on our server there, and so I wanted to talk to everybody to see if that's something that we think's a good idea, and if we should move forward with that, and give him a call and talk to him and see what it looks like, and maybe go over and have a visit.
He reached out to me as well,
Oh, good.
and I made copies of all the photographs that we have in the office, which are, there aren't that many of them, but I've provided him with everything we've got.
Okay.
And they're already storing 2 antique engines in there, and I think there's a lot of talk about the possibility of having it be some type of a District 1 fire museum, which would be kind of cool.
That would be really great.
That's great.
Okay.
So what we would do is maybe request funds and help work for a restoration of the building? Is that-
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
that's pretty cool.
CPC funds might be available for that. I mean, it's a concrete structure, not necessarily made of concrete, but, it's a physical building so that it would fit with their mission.
And they've actually started fundraising for
Oh,
it,
that's great.
so they have a little,
Yeah, they've got some
pocket of
momentum
money,
going.
yeah.
Fill the
yeah.
boot.
Exactly.
Yeah. They should make a little stop on it. So anyway, that's what was going on with Bridge Street, and I think I'll reach out to them and say that we're excited to move forward and work with them in whatever capacity we can. Yeah, okay, I will.
I think it was 2011, they did an addition in new construction.
That's when they built the new fire station?
It was 2011, it said new construction and addition.
Oh,
That's, I think that's the District 2,
That's, okay, which one are we looking at?
One
one.
on Bridge
This
Street.
is One Bridge Street, yeah, 2011.
Oh,
That's what it says, yeah,
2001 or 2011?
2011. It was,
Go back and have
was
another
pulled.
look.
It says, new construction and addition.
it's amazing they were using that building across the street until that.
That's,
right.
It just seems so dilapidated.
Oh, actually, that used to be a fairly popular social hall at one point,
Oh, okay.
so.
that's interesting,
Yeah,
'cause
there's quite a few permits went back, so there might be some before there too, but they're all listed on the portal.
All right, well, we can look into the history of it further if we
Good
get down
job.
that road.
Ding, ding.
Who's ringing? Okay, number 8 is I just wanted to bring this concept up. In the archaeological survey update that we just got, one of the recommendations, and an appendix was put in there as well with some examples. One of the recommendations is that we explore the idea of a bylaw specifically for archaeological material, significant resources. So that would be everything from stone walls, foundations, Signposts,
Burial mounds, maybe?
I think the burials are already cataloged. But this would be an area that we don't really have a bylaw for. We've got the buildings. There's a scenic byways law that has, if there's a stone wall that's part of the scenic byway, that's covered. But the ones that are more hidden, you know, that are on people's properties and on like DNRT property and things like that, those are not cataloged or protected. So if somebody wanted to bulldoze, you know, wanted to do a subdivision and they were gonna get rid of the stone walls, this would be something that would bring it to our attention. So I suppose it would mean working with the Conservation Commission, and I'm not sure who else would be reviewing this. If we did do a bylaw, how would it, I don't know exactly how it would get triggered. It wouldn't be the building department, obviously. But if plans,
Planning, probably planning.
but conservation might as well, would you think?
Excuse me, I've been
Just-
working with conservation for the last couple of visits to some of their properties. I am a rep from the Historic Commission, and I am working with them on some of their examinations. So I guess the paperwork that was turned in to Michelle never made it to your attention.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I go out in the field with the conservation person, Jenna, and we go to sites, and she and I tag along looking for something historic of value on these properties that is for conservation. Apparently, you weren't told that I was doing this?
No, not at all.
Well,
There was a memo that went out saying that the Conservation Commission was going to be going out. Was it conservation or plan?
Yes,
Yeah.
no, it was conservation.
I was called, and I am with the conservation on various dates to go with Jenna to sites in Dartmouth, so
And who appointed you?
the call came from their office.
So you're not an official DHC rep, you just decided, you just
No, I
wanted
am
to
a
go?
DHC rep, and I go out with Jenna on visits to various sites on, I should have brought that piece of paper that I follow, so.
I think Mark Garrett brought that up at Holly's presentation, and he said that anybody that was interested could go with them when they went, yeah.
And then they sent out a list and
Yep.
we could join if we had time and things
Correct.
like that.
Well, no.
It's not an official thing, okay.
It's an official thing, because I've been doing it for the last couple of weeks,
Well,
so.
that's fine, that doesn't
But
mean
don't
it's
say,
official.
don't demean me as being, and not going through your attention.
When you said that you were a DHC rep, it
I
sounded
am a
as if,
historic commission person,
know,
and I
yes.
do attend wherever Jenna goes, and I tag along with her to these sites.
that's great, what have you found so far?
I found that Russell's Mills is, a lot of trash is being thrown in there.
What,
And there's a lot of former buildings on Collington Street that they started but never completed. There's buildings are close to the wetlands, there's a lot of wetlands, a lot of wetland. And they're trying to keep track of what's going on these sites. If I'm boring you, that's too bad, but
I'm
I am
listening.
telling you, if you, I don't have any paper that, other than the schedule that I follow with Jenna. So basically, there is some issues of a lot of trash thrown on these wetlands, so I can't believe that.
I suppose they,
I can't believe there was no official note about what I was doing, so.
I have not heard anything yet,
Well,
but I
Michelle
don't,
got a copy of the scheduling, so,
yeah, we got copies of the schedule. We just didn't, and we were all invited to go if we wanted to, so I'm glad you took them up on it, and I hope it yields some good results. I think if they keep track of what they find there, and we can, add it to our inventory and maybe have a better understanding of what archaeological features are out there, that's only a benefit. So that's great. So this is the possibility of a new bylaw. I don't know how to even begin this process, but is that something that anybody thinks that we should consider pursuing?
After our experience with Hathaway Road, I think it would behoove us to move in that direction.
I agree, and I'd like to see how we would mesh up with the Conservation Commission, either to be a trigger at some point in the process, or just to figure out where our purview ends and theirs begins. that kind
Or
of thing.
where we overlap as well.
Yeah, of course.
Holly included a couple of good examples from other towns of their bylaws, so we wouldn't be,
great.
starting from scratch. We could model something for Dartmouth on what some of the other towns have, just for wording and things like that.
What is the process for adopting bylaw or proposing one? Is it going
I
for
don't
the town
know.
meeting? Okay.
I'm sorry?
The process for proposing or adopting a new bylaw?
Well, typically, it's easier if you start by looking at other towns that already have existing bylaws and look at if MHC has any. In this case, it would be MHC. And then take it from there and just base your language on what you're trying to protect. So it could include, like Christina said, stone walls, wells, barways, anything that's made of stone that would survive, hundreds and hundreds of years.
But I'm just wondering whether the town meeting approves it, or?
Yes,
Okay,
they do.
okay. all right.
It goes, it would get put together, it would go to town council for review, and then it would either come back or he would move it forward.
So it's potentially, if we could look at it over the next several months, we could possibly get it for the October meeting. Yeah. And since we have so many models to go on, I think that's something we could achieve. All right, well, we'll bring that one back. And now, how about a nomination for the new DHC chair? I'm going to be stepping down. My 3-year term runs out on June 30th. I just received the letter in the mail that I need to either sign or not sign. I've decided that I am going to continue on in the commission, but I no longer wish to remain chair. I've done the best I could in the circumstances, and learned a lot, made a few mistakes, but I got us through another year, and nobody else wanted to do it, so here we are. And I don't think I am allowed to nominate,
No,
probably, so I'm just gonna sit here and say that we need to do this now, please.
well, I would like to nominate Robert Mahold for the position of chair.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Do you want to say anything?
No, just
Oh.
other than I thank you, Sue,
I already talked
I'm
to
honored, and
Hush, okay.
I kind of knew
moving
this was
forward.
coming, but,
Sorry.
but I'm happy to do this, but as a total newbie, I'm just very happy to have, Chris and Sue and Phil and all of you, Robert, Bev, here with me to help me, because I need some help. So anyway, I'm grateful for that confidence. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for accepting it. I've only done this job with a lot of help from everybody else as well, and so I know that the help is definitely gonna be forthcoming. We appreciate you stepping up, because it's a lot more work than I thought.
Oh,
And the-
thanks.
And the on,
Well, we should have taken the vote first, and then he could have
well, we
said
did.
that.
I believe it was unanimous and you
in.
can't back out now, but, no, but it's also it's rewarding. And it's interesting to see how it's transitioned in a year, you know, trying to get used to these online
Yeah.
applications and the new process. And we've done some tweaks, but I'm sure it can be tweaked further. But I'm also excited about some of the new directions that we're going in, some of the emphasis that we're putting on some new projects, and revisiting old projects and actually making some progress, so thank you for accepting.
Of course.
And is there any other business?
I just want to make a note. So when I was saying about the police station, when I scrolled down more, it was just minor work, but I guess they have a building permit in the issue right now.
The fire station?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So they have a foundation permit and they had a variance that was just done.
Okay.
I knew that they were gonna put in a new, the steps out front. Is that what the foundation is for, or something different?
Let me see, because the variance was, let's see. Let me scroll down, I'll get it if it comes up.
Because the steps, I bet the landing is pretty close to the sidewalk there.
Is this fire station two?
No, this is Bridge
One.
Street.
District one.
You know, if we want to do June 1st or July.
June would be great.
Well, it looks like a little bit more. Future construction. Proposed door, patio paver. Yeah, it looks a little bit more than that, yeah.
All right, yes.
It just occurred to me, I think at one of the last meetings, or in one of the memos, there was talk about moving back to our original meeting room.
Yes.
What happened?
We discussed it a little bit and decided that this was a better forum for the public to be here. And Bev also brought up that it's more sanitary because there's
Okay.
more breathing room. You know, I think part of it was just the fact that we had been, you know, harassed or whatever, that being recorded had become an issue at one point. And, but now that we've straightened everything out and we're announcing everything, I think it probably makes sense, especially in the summer when we get more and more applications
Yeah.
and more people. I mean, we've had this room be full before. Do you have any
There's
thoughts?
just something about having, being in that room with all of the historic photographs, which isn't a reason to continue using that room, but there's just no ambience or something that signals.
Yeah.
You're right. There's something I like about it too, and it's kind of cozy, and it makes you feel like you're having a committee meeting and not something so formal, but I think practically, this is probably a better space. But if we sit around and meet about Form Bs or any of the other smaller, you know, the agenda items that we need to discuss further, that's the place,
Yeah,
so. Okay, is there anything else?
Oh, and-
Okay, you know what we need to do?
Were there new keys given out last time? Did you,
You need to go get one. I haven't gotten mine yet either.
from town clerk?
Michelle.
I
Michelle?
got mine, yeah, from
Michelle,
Michelle.
you have to sign them out.
Yep. So, anybody want to do the?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How many times
Meeting
has
is
that been
adjourned.
said?